All right.
All rise.
A happy Halloween to everybody.
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad. We have quite the Khabib is retired. It's over.
And the foreseeable future is a shit show.
Yeah.
The fights we have coming up, we have Anderson Silva versus Uriah Hall on Halloween. Not to say it's a shit show, but we have Anderson Silva at 44. We have, the freak show of Tyson and Jake Paul and all that's going on that card.
A lot of novelty.
Weird times.
A lot of novelty happening. You have your Roy Jones Jr. Mike Tyson fight coming up. That's in November, right?
November 24th. They just had the presser today, virtually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was good.
I didn't watch it. Wow.
It was good.
You have Anderson Silva, a little bit more novelty because he's not really in the hunt for any title, but he's a super popular name. Not novelty in that it's not a real fight, but obviously no real stakes in this fight.
Right.
I'm not even going to mention the Jake Paul thing. However, you have the Hamzat. You heard about this, right? Now Hamzat and Leon Edwards are going to fight. I feel like Leon put himself in this position.
Crazy.
You know what I mean?
It's like, what did he do to deserve that?
I don't know. I feel like for those of you who can't hear Joey, what he said was, how can Leon deserve to go from next, right? He was next for a title fight
to unranked Hamzat.
To unranked fighting Hamzat. Really getting fed to Hamzat. That's what it feels like.
It appears, from a fan perspective, that's what it looks like.
From a fan perspective. Obviously, Leon is a beast. But
right.
Hamzat he looks like a world breaker. So this fight, I think everybody is kind of writing Leon off. And it could be good for Leon if he wins a fight like this.
Yeah. No, and I think the way they're building this up is they're not really making the rankings a big part of it. They just took Leon out of the rankings last week as some sort of sleight of hand in the negotiations or something. I don't know what was going on there. If it was to light a fire, hey, look, if you don't take fights, you're out of the rankings. Mm-hmm. And then they were like, if you take the fight, we'll put you back. Was it literally blacklisting them from the rankings? It's just weird how it's kind of played out and how 2020 has played out for Leon as a whole. It's been weird for everyone, but Leon, it's been I feel like 8 months now since COVID started and fights have been going on. It's all right, when the restrictions are lifted, when are you going to be back in the fight game? Fight Island is just a little flight away from him over there, so it's kind of he in a way you can see how he almost does deserve this, if you can put it like that, not to say, it's hard to say it like that though, because it is a main event,
It's sad to say, but you can at least say that he put himself in this position for holding out so long because he made himself that perfect opponent for Hamzat.
Right.
Because Hamzat beats Leon, now there's no question as to Hamzat's legitimacy. There's no question as to whether Hamzat is the real deal because right. Leon is a beast. You know what I'm saying? Leon was in the talks of being in that top, that top 2 or 3 in that division. Now Hamzat goes in there and beats him, and my goodness, if he beats him the way we've seen him beat everybody else, now it's this guy can do this.
Leon Edwards is number 3.
Yeah.
It's if he beats him, if he smashes him.
If he smashes him, because if he has a tough fight, goes to the decision, then it's all right, he belongs here, but maybe he's not the scary monster everybody thought.
Right.
But if he smashes Leon, Leon's kind of battle tested by now, so that you could say, oh, this is legit. He could do this to anybody.
And Leon's on an 8-fight win streak, and his last loss was Usman. So if you look at it in terms of
that was forever ago.
Right. In terms of who who could get you ready for a Khamzat style pressure, because that's really it when you're fighting a guy like a Khamzat or like a Khabib type. It's just a whole different world of pressure. It's not even just the grappling, like
just pressure.
It's just the pressure.
I noticed with the Khabib Justin fight, he was just going forward.
Yeah.
So much so that at one point it looked like Justin was disoriented.
Right.
It looked like he was literally off balance and disoriented.
Because if you think about it, they think space. They're just like, oh, if I have space, I'm safe. But Khabib's coming at them so fast, and they're able to get away because Khabib is kind of like running and lunging in a way. You know, he feints and stuff, but he's real like lungy and just running at you in a lot of ways. So these guys are doing so much to avoid him because their whole mindset is space, space, space. Create space and strike, create space and strike. If you create space with somebody who's sprinting at you, you're going to be running in reverse, and you saw how tired he was after one round.
Yeah,
you saw him go the distance against Tony pretty much. Look at him after one round against Khabib. It's a different thing.
I think it was nerves. You know when you get nervous, you get tired quicker. You forget to breathe.
See, I think that pressure just...
I think that's what made him nervous. Like, it was just, he had no time to think, and he was thrown into a storm.
Yeah, I don't think dealing with that pressure for sure. Like, and
also, I mean, it is the biggest fight of his career against a guy who is virtually never shown weakness in the octagon. You had to think some part of Justin Gaethje in his mind, there was a lot of adrenaline release when that fight started, and when it started to go poorly, you know, and he's starting to lose some of the striking interactions, which I'm sure he did not see coming.
Right.
Maybe he's starting to panic a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
You know, I think panic and, not fear.
Well, he doesn't fight going backwards that rapidly usually.
Right.
So, yeah, he's a good striker, but if you make him strike on an angle that he's not drilling constantly, like he was probably like, oh, I'm going to come forward on him when we're on the feet and like really put it on him when we're on the feet. And it's like, no, you don't get it. It's not just wrestling, it's pressure. He's coming downhill the whole time right away.
It's like a Diaz brother with wrestling.
With Khabib, similar.
Only Diaz brothers have better boxing.
Right. It's different boxing, too. The Khabib striking really is its own thing. Because
it's Khabib striking.
Because his wrestling is what it is. So the level change, feints and stuff, just the herky-jerkiness to it makes so much sense from his perspective, because you don't know if he's changing levels or just bopping around the whole time. Like, it's a constant level changing thing that's
the shot he hit on Conor was a level change feint. Mm-hmm. Which got Conor to drop his hands to defend the takedown. Boom.
Level change to overhand.
And then when he went to it again later, Conor didn't drop his hands, but then allowed the takedown.
Yeah.
And the takedown was there. He's such a mastermind. It's sad. It's sad to see Khabib go, but I wasn't surprised at the end of the day, because really it doesn't seem right for him to go chase a 30 against somebody like a GSP when really I don't even think he wants to do this anymore. You know, he clearly doesn't have the same desire in terms of, like, I think a part of him feels like he's lost a part of him with his father, and that part of him that he lost has to do so much with the fight game and so much with fighting and being a champion that I imagine it'd be difficult to continue reopening that wound. And he's a man of his word. He promised his mother one thing, he's not going to go back on it. But I think it doesn't make a lot of sense. There's no other real mountain to climb, because GSP is not a real mountain to climb.
And GSP said he wouldn't have done it at 155, which I think would have been a deal breaker.
Yeah.
So,
and GSP is trying to climb Khabib. Khabib's the mountain. So if Khabib had this astronomical goal to go get, that it just wouldn't be right to retire, like he hadn't fought Conor, for example.
Yeah.
Or maybe he hadn't fought something. Like, the Tony fight is cursed. We know it. Nobody's expecting realistically that fight to happen. It's so many times it's gone poorly. But if there was that contender out there that would invalidate, that the fact that they haven't fought invalidates Khabib, then you could see him staying. But he's beaten everybody.
Right.
And transitive property would suggest that he could beat Tony.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know we don't do transitive property. I know we don't say Justin beat Tony.
Yeah, but you can't give him a Tony coming off of a loss, or even let Tony go get one win and get back to Khabib. Like, it's just not there. And yeah, if it was basically a Khabib fight or nothing from the UFC or a GSP fight or nothing. And I think the UFC's perspective was GSP or Conor or nothing, or not or nothing. They would have gave him whoever.
What's the something special?
I think it was GSP.
Oh.
But, Dana didn't know he was going to retire.
Oh, really?
So,
he didn't know that?
Yeah, no, he didn't know.
That must have been a decision made right then.
Yeah, so Khabib, even Javier Mendez's coach didn't know he was going to retire.
Do you
I thought
think
that
he's
was
done?
very interesting. Yeah, I think he's done.
I think it's over with.
I think it's possible that we get him versus GSP for a non-title in the future. But honestly, GSP's getting to the point where I don't see him coming out. But here, one thing I want to touch on is this desperate cry for approval or whatever it is from John Jones. What's going on?
John Jones is losing me more and more each second.
It's crazy.
I love John, and I do think John is the most, has had... Actually, you can't say that. I don't know. The opponents were difficult. He might have had the most dominant run as a champion at one point in his career. Might have had the most dominant run in terms of beating good guys, but nobody has had more dominant in terms of performance than Khabib, period. He's never lost a round. He lost to Conor. Was he ever in danger in that round? No. So he might have lost on points, but never once have we looked at Khabib in the octagon and said, he's in trouble. Yeah. He needs to dig deep and find something in him. John Jones almost got armbarred by Vitor. Full extension armbar. Got caught. He almost lost to Gus. Could have gone either way. I mean, some people might have called it a robbery if they gave it to Gus, but I think we'd say, oh, it was a good fight. Could they give it to the champ? Fair enough. I think he lost to Reyes. Looked very vulnerable against Reyes. So, in terms of performance in the octagon, not just who you've beat, not just how long you've been champion, like, nobody has had more dominance, in my opinion, than Khabib, and that validates a GOAT status.
Yeah.
John went from congratulating Khabib to really looking salty, like almost trying to discredit what Khabib has done by pointing out all the championship defenses he has versus Khabib. And I'm like, well, Khabib faced injuries that kept him out. You know what I'm saying? And, I mean, look at his last couple fights. That's a tough last couple fights to end your career on. And he never looked any different than his debut.
Right.
Like, John looks different. Looks significantly... Maybe he looks better at heavyweight, but at light heavyweight, his fight against Thiago Santos looks different than his fights against Lyoto Machida and his fights against, even like the first DC fight, even the second DC fight. You could see differences in John's performance. There is no difference in Khabib's performance. He does the same thing every fight to everybody.
Yeah.
So it's like, and look, I'm sorry, but to be the GOAT, I feel like it has to be more than what you did in the octagon.
Yeah, I think, the only thing, the hole in Khabib's game, or Khabib's GOAT argument, I think, is the length of time he sustained his dominance in the UFC, where he had a shortened prime in the UFC that wasn't like a long reign where he was beating the elite guys. Sure. He had a very short window where he beat elite guys, whereas John's done it in like 3 waves now, you know?
He has.
And I think that's what's different about like a GSP and a John Jones than a Khabib. I think Khabib is definitely one of those like most dominant streaks, but I think just 13 fights in the UFC, that's a good amount of fights, for sure. But GSP has like 10 more wins than that, so it's hard to call him the GOAT when somebody's literally done like twice as much as him. And GSP and John both have that sort of resume where it's like, yes, what he's done's impressive, but they stayed on top and went through pressures like that. Like John's mom died in his career, not to say like, not to compare, like, that's not even something you really want to speak on, but, people who have, sustained it through multiple chapters of their life. And I think that is just kind of what John was really getting at, was like, hold on, like, yeah, he looks great right now. So what my initial argument, not really argument, but my point on this topic was, I think right now it is right that Habib gets put to number 1 on the pound for pound, which the UFC did after that fight.
Yeah,
this week they updated him to number 1, which I think right now he is the most dominant fighter on planet Earth, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, there is one thing that you have to realize. It took him until now to overtake John as number 1, and John's been number 1 since like 2005.
It's amazing.
So it's like, it's hard to say Habib's the GOAT all time when he just achieved that status from John, when John's been that since 2005, and now that he retires, it's about to defer to John again. And John's going to continue to be the number 1 pound for pound fighter into the 2020s now.
In terms of the fighter and his resume, John has a better resume.
Right.
GSP has a better resume in terms of people he's fought.
Mm-hmm.
But Khabib has that 0. And if he stays retired, he forever has that 0. And John might not have a 0 by the time he's done. I know he has a 1. It's not a real loss.
Right.
But he might not have that 0 by the time he's done. He might lose at heavyweight. He might lose to Israel Adesanya. So, there's a lot of things threatening John in terms of, look, it depends on what you mean by GOAT. Most accomplished, best run, longest title reign. I feel like, then Jose Aldo has to be in that conversation, right?
Yeah, no,
So
we've talked about this before and how it is hard. There's so many different, flavors of GOAT, basically.
Right, because but you look at Khabib in terms of being a martial artist and the way he did it. I feel like there's something to be said about a guy who did the same exact thing every fight and nobody could stop it.
Yeah.
Because what that indicates to you is that would not have changed.
Right.
Because if it would have changed, it would have changed.
Right.
Justin, Connor, Dustin, they would have figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody figured it out. Nobody came close to figuring it out. And honestly, who do you see in that division actually posing a serious threat?
No, you're right.
In history, even.
To me, I think that if they would have gave him the GSP fight, that would have been his chance to really solidify it. And, it's hard to even say it, but
He should do it.
I think he would have smashed GSP.
He should do it.
I think he'll smash him.
I do too. I think GSP has the best shot of anybody, but he's getting older, bro. And
at the end of the day, it's not just grappling pedigree and ability to control and submit and do techniques. Habib just brings that pressure, and I don't think a 40-year-old GSP is ready for that.
No.
I just don't. You can't come off the bench to that pressure.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's hard to come off the bench to that type of fighter.
Right.
And that type of fighting style.
It's like coming off the bench where you've been sitting cold feet the whole game and coming in and guarding the red hot player in the crunch time of the game. Unless
you're Tyler Hero. Then you could do that.
Yeah.
Tyler Hero would come in the game and just shoot clutch threes with the shot clock going down. I don't think that guy knows he was a rookie. Well, let's talk about, you mentioned John Jones. Well,
yeah.
There's only one thing that I want to hear about John Jones.
Uh-oh.
And it's John. I want a date. I want an announcement. I want John Jones and Israel Adesanya to be announced because I feel like at this point, I don't know if Izzy even takes that Robert Whittaker fight first. Why risk it? If he loses to Robert Whittaker, the John Jones fight is ruined.
Right.
And that's what he's been working toward for the last 2 years.
And Whittaker's a dangerous guy now. Whittaker is on the rise. He's knocking on the door again, coming back for what's his. But if Israel plays it right and goes up to light heavy and then comes back down, makes Whittaker take another fight and wait for it, Whittaker will be frustrated, burnt out Rob again, and then maybe Israel gets the better of him.
If Izzy fights Whittaker next, he's putting a lot at risk. It'll be a very ballsy decision.
Yeah.
If he fights him next, because if he loses, it's over. Izzy's GOAT talk, John Jones talk. It doesn't have as much smoke.
For sure.
Sure, if they announce an Izzy John Jones talk fight,
everybody will get up for it.
We'll get up for it, but it's not going to have the same stakes because right now it's literally Izzy trying to take his 0, his undefeated record, and also John would be defeating another super hyped undefeated fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Not the same. I feel like Adesanya should wait. Rob hasn't I mean, clearing away, run ahead of everybody. The fight against Darren Till was close. You know, maybe they run that fight back. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they get Rob against what's his name, and the Jack Hermanson. Maybe they run a little. They do a little tournament.
Oh my God, I'm getting a vision.
Oh boy.
Oh my God.
It's happening to you now.
It's happening.
All right.
We're gonna get Izzy versus Jan for the light heavyweight title. Co-main event for the interim middleweight championship of the world. You have Robert Whitaker versus Jack Hermanson.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Another one?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Robert Whitaker versus Hamzat.
Oh! What? No. No, take that back. Put that back in your head.
No, I can't.
We can't do that to Robert
Why?
Whitaker because we like him. We don't want him to die. And I feel like everybody Hamzat fights dies slowly inside. They begin to corrode spiritually, emotionally.
Wow. Yeah, alright.
Robert wins by knockout, second round. He's got the little...
Just stomps his knee.
He's got the oblique kicks.
Yeah.
No, the only guy that's going to beat Hamzat is Masvidal. And I'll tell you why. Flying knee. Lightning can strike in the same plates twice. I've seen it on YouTube.
Okay.
So, wrestler, you know, he also can throw hands. But we're not going to talk about that. Wrestler, he shoots it. Anyway, I'm not going to get into me predicting Masvidal can beat everybody. Because I'm pretty sure I can actually give not a rational, but I can give a well-thought-out argument as to why Masvidal could beat John Jones. So let's not get into this at all because clearly I'm insane. Yeah, I'm insane.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Well, that being said.
Yes.
What do you make of this Anderson Silva bow out here? You think we're going to get...
I feel like the perfect time for Anderson to bow out would have been after that Izzy fight. I felt like it was literally a perfect bow out.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It was a passing of the guard.
Yeah.
Just go out. This one, I like it, but he could lose. You know, and if he loses, he's already said it's his last fight. It puts a lot of negative, anxious energy on it. I know Uriah Hall has had struggles, but he's a very dangerous person. You know, he's the guy responsible for the most viral kicking knockout through high school.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
The spinning back
kick? The Ultimate Fighter, the spinning back kick. That was the most viral thing. That was like Masvidal's flying knee.
Yeah.
It was high school, right? Or was I in college already? It was a while ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
So when that happened, everybody was like, this guy is going to be the greatest. And he had a lot of hype. And he's had some struggles, but he's still dangerous. And Anderson's old. And Anderson likes to play this game with his chin out there. And, you know what I'm saying? He likes to be a showman. So I get a little nervous. I don't want to see him get knocked out or hurt in his last fight.
I think they're both in a gun-shy phase of their career, though.
You think
past their prime gun-shy phase. And I feel like that's going to make for a really good fight. Not in terms of, on the edge of your seat, oh my God, these guys are going to war. You know, but I think we're going to get, a real cool, martial arts display.
They're both beautiful martial artists.
Right. And I think that that's what this is really to highlight, you know. And Dana is the one who made this Anderson's last fight. He is the one who came out and was like, all right, this is... we're putting a bow on this. We're not going to keep this going. So, you know, kudos to Dana for...
You should have said that to BJ Penn 4 fights ago.
Yeah, that was tough to watch.
All right. So, what else do we have? What else is there in the world? I think we might have to go fight corner roll. Or is there something else you wanted to talk about?
No, I think we've pretty much covered everything.
Well, these fight corner rolls are interesting.
They are.
So I have here Teddy Atlas, famed boxing analyst and coach.
Yeah.
Javier Mendez, the coach of Khabib, and all of the AKA guys.
Daniel
Cormier, Luke Rockhold, Jinx Minnesota, and then Mark Henry. And I assume we're not talking about the Mark Henry from WWE.
Not to be confused with the Mark Henry from WWE.
Yeah, we're talking about Mark Henry. He is also an MMA coach, one of the more one of the more famous striking coaches, right?
Yeah, he's known for just being a super mind, like a detail freak. Keeps like notebooks on each fighter he coaches, and is just that says a lot for a coach. Could you imagine if your coach just had a notebooks full of stuff about you? Like that's insane.
It is pretty wild.
That's insane. To think that he coaches to that level where he's really taking the details down, breaking them down. Like when does he stop to breathe if he's coaching this many guys and to level of detail? He lives MMA.
No time to breathe. Gotta coach.
Yeah.
Gotta coach. No time to breathe.
And these guys are all pretty similar in that way.
All right, I'm fighting Teddy Atlas. Because come on.
He's past his prime.
Yeah, he's way past his prime. I'm gonna.
I feel like that's still he's a sleeper.
I'm hitting him with a low single. Ending all this confusion.
Okay.
All right, we're just gonna solve this problem quickly and efficiently.
Khabib him.
We're gonna just Khabib him. We're gonna smother him. And I'm actually gonna hit him with an Ezekiel choke.
Oh.
I don't think he'll give his back because I feel like he's the type of person that watches enough UFC. He's like, don't give your back. I can't give my back. She's gonna stay.
My moderator's a fucking fag.
I look like a stunner. I'm not gonna give my back. I'm staying here. And so I'm gonna just give him a little Ezekiel from now. I'm gonna have to roll with Mark Henry, because if he's that much of a mastermind and he's writing notes on people, then he has to know something.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he must know something. So I guess I'll roll with him, and then I'm going to corner Javier Mendez in a fight because this should be obvious. You get to hang out with some really awesome people.
Yep.
That seems like a really fun, chill, relaxed group to hang around. That's not going to get in trouble, but loyal to one another. I like that kind of vibe. So that's what I'm doing.
All right. I'm going to go... I'm going to fight... Oh, that's tough. I'm gonna fight Javier Mendez. I feel like he's a bigger name.
A bigger name? Wow.
I mean, Teddy Atlas, I think, is the name.
That was a fat joke.
Oh. Well, Javier.
You said bigger name.
Yeah, he's large, but it's. We won't body shame Javier anymore. So yeah, I'm fighting Javier because I think that AKA Click is high profile, and I'm ready for this money fight. I'm gonna corner Mark Henry because that team that he has around him, I would love to go through a fight week with all of them. I know Zabit would not be there, but in my brain in this scenario, he's there giving me all his secrets and knowledge and giggling and cuddling.
He's there. He's
there. So Zabit's there.
Wait, what was that last part? You said something at the end. What was that?
What?
Rolling? I'm pretty sure. No. You said rolling and drilling with Zabit, and then you said something else you said.
With sparring?
No. There was something else you said. I'm pretty sure they heard you. I heard you.
Running.
I don't think it was running.
We'll probably...
Dude, we have to talk. We have to talk about that afterward.
Okay.
We have to talk about that afterward.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways. Next question.
Who are you rolling with?
I'm rolling with Teddy Atlas.
Why?
I have no idea. No
Excellent.
further questions.
Excellent. All right, next we have Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden.
Well. So, Steph, let me just say, greatest shooter of all time, but that boy ain't built for war.
No.
That boy is not built for war. That being said, I'm fighting Steph Curry. Heavy leg kick approach. And I guarantee
gosh.
We're getting a Cheeto Vera versus Sean O'Malley rewind.
He already has a messed up ankle.
Yeah. Oh. Chop, chop.
Wow.
That's it.
Beautiful.
So that's easy money, and that's big money.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna corner James Harden, not because I think he's the most fun to hang out with necessarily, although he's probably a pretty cool guy to hang out with. I just don't want to roll with that beard in my face.
Yeah.
So that's just exactly why I'm not.
That thing goes down to
with him.
his chest. It's like up to here.
Yeah, it's absurd, and that just weirds me out. That's too much.
Yeah.
Too much. So I'm gonna roll with Kyrie. I feel like he might have dabbled in some jiu-jitsu or some martial arts on the side. He's got that like all esoteric coexist vibe with flat earth and stuff, So like
I just told a friend of mine, I feel like the jiu-jitsu community is the most prone to conspiracy.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like, what is it about jiu-jitsu that opens...
Because it's a game of rabbit holes.
So it unlocks our pineal gland or whatever? Like, what does it do? Every time you go
it just releases DMT that leads to
every time you go for a collar choke, you start to realize about the deep state. You're like, whoa, there's a pedophile ring in Hollywood. You're going for homoplatis.
You pull Rubber Guard and just...
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. Rubber Guard is like a full-on DMT state.
It might be the Joe Rogan thing, though. That's actually more plausible, is that a lot of people start jiu-jitsu because of Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And Joe Rogan...
John Danaher said Joe Rogan's the most important character in the history of jiu-jitsu.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. He said he thinks that there's people more important for like the art and the technicality, but in terms of like one person's impact on the sport, he thinks it's Joe Rogan.
100%. I think I started jiu-jitsu seriously after listening to Hickson on Joe Rogan and listening to Joe Rogan talk about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. All right, so that's good. So then you know what? I'm gonna switch this up. I want to fight Kyrie. Seems like a guy that's fightable. He talks all this trash about LeBron, and he always says things that just make you like question. What are you doing?
Like, why'd you have to even say that?
Yeah,
like
why?
that's the biggest thing. It's just like, why? Yeah.
Why
exactly.
are you being a hater and being so bitter right now?
Yeah.
I'm going to corner Steph. I feel like Steph and I would be able to connect more, and I'd want to help him fight you. So I have to like give him secrets of yours. I'll have videos of like you sparring people, and I'll just show him, be like, here, try to interpret this. I'm not gonna tell him, man. I don't know how to interpret it. But I'll be like, hey, try to interpret this. You have like 72 hours, but that's what's coming your way. So here, and then who knows? Maybe he can sneak one out on you. You never know.
Maybe he could like cross me up. He just like breaks my ankles.
He breaks your ankles and then he gives you a right cross.
Wow.
Get it? So I'm gonna roll with Harden because unlike you, I see the beard as an advantage. I can use that beard to choke him.
Wow.
So like you know how you can feed a lapel around through someone's arm and like you do a little lapel choke.
Giving him one of these.
Yeah, you just choke him with his own beard. I mean, how demoralizing is that?
That's humiliating.
Immediate respect from Harden if I do that to him. Plus, I'm a D Wade guy, and some people, shout out to my boy John. Some people might be under the delusion that Harden is a better player than Dwayne Wade, and I feel like I have to just, even though it has literally nothing to do with basketball, I feel like I have to punish James Harden for that.
Yeah.
While rolling with him.
Close.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Got to do it for D Wade.
I agree, Dwayne Wade. I think obviously Harden. That's like saying Kevin Durant is better than LeBron because he scores more points. Like saying Harden is better than D Wade. It's like
because you got to be a two-way player,
right?
A two-way player, best shot blocker at his height in history. That's documented, and champion.
Yeah,
and you can really say he was a champion before LeBron.
Right, and LeBron has openly stated 1,000,000 times he went there to basically learn how to be a champion from Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade is the glue that tied the big three together. He's the most beloved player in Heat history, in Miami sports history.
Yeah.
Like, he was Dan Marino, and Dwayne Wade just stole that from him.
Yeah. I think there's some recency bias, and just the fact that he brought rings, but yeah.
Well, but it's also him. He was always this baby-faced guy.
For sure. And Dan Marino, yeah. I love Dan the man, so I'm not even going to sit here and say anything negative.
Dan the man's the GOAT, I think.
Yeah.
Like, with everything, anyway, But yeah, Dan the man is, think about it. Like, how long did it take people to break his records? There's probably still some records.
It took them playing a different sport basically to break his records.
He did that without all these changes to the rules. That's insane.
He did that taking snaps from under center. Like, they've been running the spread offense for 20 years, and people just started breaking his records now. It's like, it's
Dan Marino is for a time there, he was the greatest of all time, even without a ring, in my mind.
Yeah.
Now you can't argue Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, one of those two. But Dan Marino is special.
I think he's the greatest talent of all time. You know,
yeah,
I think in terms of just arm talent all around. I mean, it's hard to say now with Patrick Mahomes, but we're getting way out of here.
We're talking football.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So, last, Teofimo Lopez, right? That's the name?
Teofimo.
I said Teofimo. Lomachenko. And this guy. Gervonta Davis. Let me go first.
I already know.
They're all boxers, so there's no benefit in fighting one or the other. You want to fight the one that has the most money attached to them. So I'm going to fight Loma because I feel like that's the biggest fight. Even though this guy just took the belts off of him, who's not going to get up for a fight? Anybody Loma fights, people are going to watch.
Yeah.
Even if they don't know who they are. So I'm going to make tons of money. I'm rolling with Tank because I want to get into the north-south position and crush his face with my nuts for 6 minutes, just for all domestic violence victims in the world. Like, I'm telling you, like I don't hate. I could be a little bit of like skeptical about people, you know, like I was like that with T.J. Dillashaw for a while. He did some things that bother me, but like that's somebody who I just think is just like needs to make some serious changes to his outlook on life, or his whole career will be shortened.
Yeah.
Like, the vibes I get off him are straight negative.
Yeah.
Like, straight negative. I don't get... Listen, Floyd was purposely trying to be that way. This guy just seems like he's got some venom in him. And I would just like to humble him. You know what I'm saying? Especially with all that mess he was talking to T.J. Dillashaw about he would fight him in an MMA fight. And I'm like, bro, all right, let's make that happen. And then that puts me cornering Teofimo, that's his name?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to corner him against Loma in the rematch and tell him to just throw shots to the knees. So if I do that, what is the likelihood of him hitting all of them? And then for sure Loma will hit him in the face more times and win, and all balance would be restored in the universe again.
All right.
Do you not agree with my Tank take?
I don't know the guy, so you can never go. I don't know. It's hard as.
How about based on pure perception?
The video of him snatching his girl up was hard to watch.
Can you think of any justifiable excuse for that?
And from my point of view and my way of being, you know, like there's nothing that.
Maybe she says, "I'm a man." that now it's not. It's a whole different thing now.
Yeah.
That might have been it.
Now that's your dog.
Yeah.
You know, that changes everything.
You could do that.
He just snatched his dog.
You could do that to your boy. That's nothing.
All right, this is getting wrong in so many ways.
No.
Now we're suppressing transgenders.
No, look, that video was disturbing. But yes, okay. I understand you're the ever more tolerant, and you're saying I don't know him, I can't make a judgment on his personality. That's fair.
But definitely, you know, there are some things there where you can tell he has some learning to do.
I don't like how he taunts fighters too. It's just something, I don't know. I can tell when people are just, I don't know.
No, he for sure, he's definitely the bad boy.
Yes.
Of boxing right now. You know, so it's hard to just write those guys off and say they're cruel because, you know, at the end of the day, you need those guys to make the good guys look good. Not to say that we need bad people, you know, to keep being bad.
Characters, heroes.
Right. So, you know, with that being said, I'm fighting Tank because I think he's the money fight right now. Loma's fighting on ESPN. Tank, all his fights are on pay-per-view. And I think that just being on Mayweather Promotions and Floyd being like basically every Tank video is just Floyd talking about
himself and Tank as well.
But himself first.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like Floyd kind of selling pay-per-views and Tank just doing okay pay-per-view numbers. Which, you know, whatever. It's all about who you know, I guess, in the fight game and life in a lot of ways. But at the end of the day, I'm going to take that hype and fight Tanks, kick his legs, take him down, smash him, elbow him in the face while I'm mounted him. And
I like this.
yeah, I like it. I'm going to just smash him. And then that leaves me... I'm going to corner Loma just because I love the approach, you know, the all the elements they hit around the fight game, I think, are just, you know, there's a lot to learn there. Not to say that I couldn't learn things from Teofimo. Definitely, I'm sure they have some world-class boxing training and other things around it as well, but Loma is just known for that and what Loma's been able to do with, you know,
Right.
yeah, all those extracurriculars, being at a size disadvantage basically his whole career. You know, it's like there's something to all that extra stuff Loma does. So yeah, rolling with Teofimo for no apparent reason.
All right. That concludes our Halloween episode.
Those
Remember to stay safe, eat plenty of candy, stay away from Michael Myers, probably Freddy Krueger. Stay away from people in
Pedophiles.
Pedophiles. Stay away from people in vans. Just overall.
sex trafficking rings,
Yeah.
stay away
You probably don't frequent those, but be especially careful.
about those.
Yeah.
That does it for me.
To infinity and beyond.
Wakanda forever.